Welcome to Faith Fiction and Folklore, or the Try podcast, where we try really hard not to F it up. And this time on this podcast, we're reading Matthew, starting at 5, because we did 4 last week. How are you guys doing, Gary and Cody?
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Gary's here. I'm also here.
Sweet. Let's adhere to the word.
Oh, yeah.
Just when you want to read, or you want me to read it?
I can jump in. What are we at?
We're
Matthew
on,
5.
let's see, we had done Peacemakers. We'd had a big conversation about Peacemakers last week. So that would be...
This is the Beatitudes.
Yeah, and then we finished the two persecuted passages. So I believe...
We got to verse 12.
Yes, we got to 12. All right.
What, 3, 4, 12.
So you are reading 13, actually.
5 and 13.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have... What?
What does that mean?
What does salt mean?
What when it says you are the salt of the earth?
Ye are the salt of the earth, but if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men. So what do you think that means, Trevor?
I don't know. I don't know what it means. That's why I asked.
I think the easiest way to explain this is to say the word groupthink. When you...
Hang on a minute. I'm going to buzz out here for a second, but I'll be right back.
All right.
Okay.
When you subject yourself to the world and you say, I'm this, I'm part of this group, you know...
Whoa. Your camera zoomed way in on you.
Oh, sorry. It has that auto zoom stuff.
Oh.
Or autofocus. So whenever you're part of a group and you're like not thinking for yourself, like Democrat, Republican kind of thing, you're not salty anymore. You are the same as everybody else. You've lost your flavor, right? And so where can you be salted again? Through God. So when you take away that outside stimulus, you get rid of those outside inputs, right? It's input output. When you get rid of that outside input, your saltiness comes from within. It comes from God. And so where can you be salted again? Through God.
That makes sense.
So when you
Thank you.
take away that outside stimulus, you get rid of let's go to 14. It's input output. Ye are the light of the world. A city is set on a hill, cannot be hid. The light of the world. I kind of feel like that means the same thing.
Yeah, it sounds like the same thing, just different analogy, I guess.
Yeah. So it's like, ye are the light of the world. But when you let other people dim your light, I mean, you know what that means. When you let other people dim your light, you're
Hide it under a bushel now.
Yeah.
We should sing that song.
I don't know that song. Oh, This Little Light of Mine?
This little light of mine.
Man, it's been a minute since I heard that song.
I'm gonna let it shine.
I feel like the last time I heard that song was like at church at Grandma's in Missouri. It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. Wow.
All right, 15. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house.
That would make a really good sermon. I don't know. This is just a random thought I had. You start the sermon, and you're like, all right, who's scared of the dark? And you shut off the whole sanctuary. And then you have just a box of like flashlights, and you read this passage, and then you flip on one big switch there on the stage. And it's like, that's God's light. And then you have a box full of like flashlights, and you show the people you are the light of the world. So who wants his light? Because he shares it with you. and you just start passing out flashlights
All right.
to everybody.
Hello again.
You're back. Welcome back.
Yes, we've got a very loud echo on the stream. So
Oh,
somebody
no.
needs to
What?
put on their headphones. I think.
I don't have any.
You don't have any?
What? Where's the-
I'm using my phone, dude.
Who's echoing?
Ah,
It's got to be me.
yeah. It's probably you. Let me think.
Because I'm not hearing anything.
You're not
I
hearing
don't
an
hear
echo?
an echo. Not on my end. On the live stream?
Yeah, on the live stream. I was one of the things I was doing is checking the live stream. So I'm getting an echo.
You had the echo early on.
Let me check it again. I'll be right back. You guys keep going. Hello, Calix. It's good to see you. Calix says, what? And I just got back, and then Calix says he doesn't hear an echo. So maybe it's just my phone. Maybe it's just me. So let me check again really quick.
All right.
I'll be right back.
We'll move to 16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Man, this is a big verse.
Yeah.
Because it talks about doing works.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth between, do you do works for the Father, or do you do works for yourself? Or
Man, it's so hard to do good things, like truly good things,
Yeah.
and not let your ego take the credit for it. It's so difficult.
Yep.
It's so hard. Yeah, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Like every time you do something good, you give the credit to God, no matter what.
No matter what.
And it feels uncomfortable to most people.
Yeah.
They don't like it.
Yeah, I've tried it a couple times, and it's like, this feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've never
you-
done it before.
The people that you're saying it to, I mean, like it freaks them out. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
they're like, you did such a great job. And you're like, oh, no, it wasn't me. It was God. And they're like, oh.
Okay. You're weird. Goodbye.
Trevor, are you listening to the podcast as well, off and on?
Yeah, I've been turning it, like, when you guys talk, I'll be listening to YouTube for as long as I can.
That's what's doing it. It's picking up on your microphone. So you'll have
Go
to...
through my headset?
Or your microphone, one of the two. So whenever you listen to it, you're going to have to mute your mic or your headset.
Oh, my bad.
No, you're good, man. That was what was doing it. Okay, I think we got to
That's
figure
why
it
I
out.
couldn't hear the echo, is because I wasn't talking.
Because
while
it was you. So.
Bet.
The whole time.
Calix says it's fine now.
Nice.
And then Calix
Well,
says,
we tried
"What?"
not to.
I like this comment before. What is Gary doing now? Now there's an echo.
Wait,
It was me.
Let me just try that.
Okay.
Try what?
Now there should be an echo.
All right.
Oh.
And now it's off.
Cool. Cool.
It's funny. All right, so I'm sorry. Where are we at verse-wise?
17.
17, all right.
Yeah, we're just going through them one at a time.
Okay.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill with one L.
Just
It's
old
just
spelling.
typo.
Old spelling, yeah.
Yeah, fulfill means complete.
Mm-hmm. Christ came to complete the law and the prophets, not destroy it.
Yeah, I think we all know that.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me wonder why people would still want to try to do it better than him. Weird.
Yeah, it's almost like they want to be God or something. So
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people argue when Jesus went to leave, he said, "You will do these things and greater."
Yeah.
So they take that a little too far and try and do.
Well, these
more
things
than-
that he's talking about isn't the law. These things is like healings and miracles.
Healings, casting out demons,
Yeah, the stuff that Christ is
Healing
referring
the
to at
sick,
the
yeah.
end is like miracles and
Yeah,
the
he
types,
wasn't
the
referring
growth
to
of the
law.
church. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So Christ came
And
to complete the law, not get rid of it. So, or replace it.
the next verse has the word fulfilled in it too, but it has two L's.
I'm not going to pretend to understand the spelling rules of 400 years ago or whatever it was.
Pretty interesting. 1888, I think, was when this was canonized, but I don't know when it was
1888?
written.
No. It's way older than that. So,
What was it?
Canonized? The 66 books?
yeah, like they were canonized long time ago.
What does that mean? Canonized.
Like
Put in order?
considered the official part of the Bible. Yeah. No, I believe depending on who you listen to, like the Council of Nicaea is when everything got canonized. It's just people have
Was
argued
it
back and forth about the
1666?
Apocrypha.
That's what it was. It was six. I got the numbers wrong. 1666.
Yeah, let me just Google it. I think you're right, but let me just Google it to be sure, really quick.
That's a lot of sixes.
Okay.
Illuminati
When
confirmed.
was the
Ooh.
KJV
The eye of the beholder.
written?
You got the 1611 KJV, and then you got, I think, this one.
1604. So you were close, but 1604. So it's been around for a while. Yep.
I think the internet changes constantly, dude.
No, that's. I knew it was the 1600s, so I knew you're right. I didn't know it was 1604, but yeah, because the King James Bible, like it started the Enlightenment, and it kind of killed the theocratic monarchy, because Protestants all of a sudden had access to the Bible in English, because you had the Gutenberg and you had other versions before, but this was like the most popular and main English translation, and people started studying it for themselves, and it kind of, it destroyed the legitimacy of the theocratic monarchy, because you read the Bible, it's like there ain't nothing about kings being appointed by God in here. I mean, they did it for David, but that doesn't mean you get to,
Yeah.
And so, and that's why there's like all this. That's why the guys back in the 1800s wanted to get rid of the KJV too, because they went from like, okay, there's no such thing as divine authority to like, there's no such thing as God. And so they wanted to make the Bible seem inconsistent, or they wanted to get rid of the idea of sola scriptura. And the whole point was just to undermine religion and God, because undermining God was the same as undermining the king in Europe. Now, Protestants, they read the Bible. They thought the Bible was inerrant. They thought the Bible had they believed in sola scriptura. And so we had this idea of codifying things into law, and the law is meant to reflect the principles of God. This is kind of like the basis for an inalienable right. Like the Ten Commandments, if you invert them, are actually the rights of men, because they're reflections of the principles of God. They're reflections of how... what God has made men for and what God has meant men to enjoy, but the law is meant to describe and codify God's principles and his ideals. So we have a very different Enlightenment tradition than Europe. Europe didn't have that. Europe had the will of the king is the will of God. And so it's a whole can of worms. But anyway, so yes, but the 1604 makes sense, because the King James helped kick off a lot of the reformations and changes in government, let's say. So
I just felt like I remembered hearing it was like there was a weird number, like 1666 or something. What was in 1888? There was something happened.
probably Westcott and Hort, who are Satan.
That may be it.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me look that up. Let me see if that, because I've ranted about Westcott and Hort before. I think that might be what you're talking about. When did the Revised Standard Edition of the Bible come out? No, that ain't it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm an idiot. I could just say things sometimes.
When did Westcott and Hort's If it's not the Revised Standard Edition, then what it's called? What's gotten Hort's New Testament come out? 1881.
Huh.
Westcott and Hort's Greek New Testament came out in 1881. Remember,
There's a lot of sketchy stuff that happened in 1880.
yeah, nothing good came out of the 1800s. So,
All the dinosaur crap, all of it. It's all bullshit.
yeah. So.
All right, we're gonna go to 18.
18. Okay.
It's kind of a continuation, so I'm gonna reread 17.
All right.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law or the prophets. I'm not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law, till all be fulfilled.
This is
100%.
one of the this is one of the defenses for sola scriptura, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So he's talking about himself.
So shall break one of these commandments and shall. Okay, let me look at this a little closely. Apologize, I spaced out for a minute. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men, so he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. So don't teach children evil shit, or you're going to not have a good time.
Well, this is also one of the verses that suggests a pecking order in heaven. Heaven is not a place of equity. You know, I've maintained once saved, always saved, and that is to say your works don't get you into heaven, but your works do determine your role in heaven, your ranking in heaven. This would be one of the verses that suggests that. So.
Yeah. For I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, ye shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. I say unto you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees. So we just have to be better than Pharisees? Is that what it's saying?
Well, you got to remember that they perceived the Pharisees to be the pinnacle of righteousness. And so it's like, unless you are the best of the best of the best, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Oh.
Now, this is laying the groundwork for salvation.
No, this is a psychological thing. Because when you compare yourself to people, you go down.
He's telling people they're all a bunch of vile degenerates, and none of them are going to get righteousness.
Yeah.
You can't fulfill the law.
No.
That's what he's getting at. So yes, you are right. It is a psychological thing. Yeah.
So when people say they have righteous anger, it's like, no,
that's bullshit.
So
explain, Gary, can you explain? You look like you want to say something. Can you explain righteous anger to me?
Anger over a just cause. Like if somebody's beating the crap out of an old lady and you get angry and indignant for the sake of that old lady and then beat the crap out of the man beating the lady, then that's righteous anger.
Why don't you just stop him and not get angry?
Because you feel empathy for another human being, and that empathy causes you to get angry and want to defend them.
But Jesus would feel empathy for both people.
That's probably true, but he would probably still beat the crap out of the guy and save the old lady.
He would stop him. Probably have a conversation with him.
You can't nicely stop people when they're that violent. They'd be like, dude, get off me. I'm going to teach this lady what for. And he's going to have to put him down. He's going to have to put him down.
But people who beat people with anger, that's not good. Those people go to jail.
I disagree on this point. Yeah, I don't think that's right. I think that every emotion, everything has a purpose and a right way it's supposed to be used. And a wrong way it's supposed to be used. Nothing is inherently evil for its own sake or in and of itself. There is a right way to use anger and a wrong way to use anger. Same thing for happiness, joy, and everything else.
A person who is defending someone is not going to beat that other person to a bloody pulp. A person who's angry is going to beat that person to a bloody pulp.
Yes, and they
That's not
probably
okay.
should.
No,
Yes, they should.
you stop them. You stop. It's not your job to fix everybody. You stop what they're doing and you let God handle the rest.
Well, you may also make sure they can't do it again, because if you don't do a thorough job,
No, that's your will. That's not God's
no,
will.
yeah, it's God's will. Well, yes, of course it is. You can't
You
just
can't
allow
just-
people to do evil again.
You're like, oh well, I'll break his legs and one vertebrae because that's probably God's will.
Calix says the only time I'm angry is when I'm honest. LOL. That's kind of how I feel sometimes. I'm like, I never let my true self out because I'm very angry. So,
Yep.
I'll give you an example. Like, once upon a time, there was a kid bullying my little brother on the bus, right? Now, me being a child and recognizing the need to defend my little brother, I got up and I didn't beat the kid to a pulp, but I screamed in his face and, made a big scene in front of everybody. And I did it because I was angry. My anger fueled my resolve to fix the problem and sent that kid a very clear message: don't mess with my little brother. And that guy never messed with my little brother again. So, in fact, they were almost kind of tiptoed around me every time they saw me looking at them when they were talking to my brother. So
They had fear of you?
yes.
Do you think they would have fear of Jesus if he fixed the situation?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think they would be comfortable in talking to him?
Well, think about the end times. When Jesus comes back, there's going to be weeping and wailing. People are going to realize they were wrong.
Right. But you said you corrected him righteously, so he was like, right?
Righteous is not the same thing as positive human emotion, though. Righteousness is right and wrong. Doesn't mean, you have a cathartic experience. It means you fix a problem.
Sorry, I heard a weird noise. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, a second ago, it sounded like when you said righteousness, you were meaning like positive emotions in some capacity. And I was like, no, you can still have somebody scared or upset, and you can still leave somebody scared and upset, but still do the right thing. Like, it's not contingent on feelings.
I think a righteous correction would be a correct or a complete correction. They wouldn't feel guilt after the correction. They would be like, yes, I understand what I did wrong and how I need to change it. There's no guilt in that. Guilt comes when you don't understand what you did wrong. You can't fully understand it.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I do feel like guilt is amoral. Like, there's going to be times it's appropriate and times it's not appropriate. And the whole thing is, though, whatever you're feeling, it needs to be motivating you to change.
Yes.
So, yeah.
I don't know what I was going to say.
That's all right.
Righteous, like a righteous correction. I think I already said it. I don't know. I don't feel like somebody would be scared of Jesus after he corrected them.
Not always, but there are going to be times where he needs to scare somebody, and then there's going to be times where he's going to be gentle. Like, he, again, yelling at the priests and calling them names versus, picking up the prostitute or protecting the prostitute and saying, go and sin no more. Like, the way he dealt with situations, like, it depended on the circumstances. It depended on who he was talking to. You are right that his motivation was always to prompt a change, but he took different approaches. So sometimes anger is appropriate. Sometimes it's not.
What the heart of the person looked like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. That's such a difficult conversation, the righteous anger thing. Because I just man, if your heart's beating fast, you can't make a good rational decision, I don't think.
Yeah, but sometimes the Almighty uses that passion. This kind of gets into providence. Sometimes you're supposed to react in a certain fashion, and the Almighty uses that to accomplish his own ends. That's not going to happen every time, but
right.
There are instances where, that That might
when
be
you say
what's required.
yeah, he would be. Yeah, I guess he would be using. So like God could use an emotionally reactive person, but they would grow from that experience and not. They would be less emotionally reactive after that.
I mean, possibly if they don't, if they don't need to be emotionally reactive, but yeah.
Because I just I just don't think that like Jesus is the standard, like not the
Right.
standard, like the goal, right?
Yeah.
We all want to reach that level of adeptness, and so I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Calix says, the only time I'm angry is when I have to use facts and logic against someone acting stupid. Yeah, normally because they don't listen. I hear you. So,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
fight or flight response. Right. Our
Or
fight
freeze.
Yeah,
response.
I don't think you can make a rational decision with that. Maybe God can use whatever outcome happens.
Well,
for his benefit,
what if an
but-
emotion sharpens you? Like maybe some people maybe what we're describing is and I don't know, I'm just throwing a hypothetical. Maybe what we're describing is a moral deduction based on our own experience. Maybe we get chaotic whenever we're emotional, but maybe if somebody gets angry, they get really clear. Now, if somebody gets really clear when they're angry, should they be angry and so they can reach that clarity to fix a problem?
Say the last part again.
What if somebody needs to be angry so they can gain the clarity to fix a problem?
Who do you know that gets more clear when they get angry?
I don't know anybody off the top of my head, but I'm not going to sit there and say it's impossible.
That sounds like crazy talk.
Getting clear whenever you're angry?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'll say this. There have been times when I've been getting angry and it's kind of motivated me to get super sharp and focused.
Yeah, but you have to stop being angry to do that.
No, you don't.
Bullshit.
No, you don't. Yeah, it's absolutely possible.
If your heart's racing, you can't be sharp and focused.
Okay, well, what about getting angry and working out harder?
No, I think it's demonic.
That's not
I've done it.
demonic. That's
I've done it,
accomplishing a
dude.
goal. Yeah, I've done it
was
too.
part of my life.
I've done it too, and it
created
gets a lot of
enormous
stress out.
ego.
It didn't create an ego for me.
Well,
I
maybe
mean, I'm arrogant for completely unrelated reasons, but it didn't. It didn't. That aspect wasn't arrogant.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't. Anger hardens your heart. The more your heart races and pumps, more it does that, the harder it gets. Because like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
The more you work that muscle out, the harder it gets.
Yeah,
Your
but
heart
there's
is
a
the same
difference
thing.
between being like strong and becoming stone. Like you're talking about being brittle.
No, there's not. Like, dude, when you pay attention to muscles, like different people's muscles, like I have a friend that's younger than me.
Yeah.
He can't curl as much as me, but he has way bigger biceps.
Yeah.
It's because my muscles are harder. They're denser. Like
Yeah.
a heart can do that too.
Yeah. I don't
So
think
if
that's a
your
bad
heart-
thing. Your body's designed to work that
shit.
way.
No, because your heart's a pump. It collapses
So
in on
it's
itself.
stronger. Like making it harder and more dense would make it more durable.
Then why does Jesus talk about hard hearts being bad?
Because it's stone. It's numbing out. It's numbing out. It's literally not feeling anything at all, being cold, not reacting to other people.
I think you're wrong. Because those bodybuilders, like if you pay attention to bodybuilders, like the golden era bodybuilders, Arnold and stuff, like they all have heart issues.
Yeah, well,
And,
that's
you know,
because
that's from steroids, but they were abusing their muscle growth.
it's
Like,
not. Yeah, the steroids are the problem, dude. It's unearned muscle. It's unearned results, and it's like pushing past what your body's designed to do. Because people do the same thing with bulls. Like if you have a breeding bull that's like all muscular or whatever, that thing's gonna die before all the other animals because
Why?
it's a genetic mutation. It's a freak, and it's not going to survive as long
That's a
as the
vague
ones that have
answer.
reached the mean.
it's a vague answer.
Yeah,
it's because its heart is hard. Its heart is overworking
but
itself.
that's rooted in hormones and like it's not connected to emotion and anger and all the other stuff. That stuff might be an outcropping of hormones that are already present. But the problem is you're injecting synthetic hormones into the body and it's destroying everything. And
That's not the
basically,
problem.
the anger is a consequence of that. The swollen heart is a consequence of that. But you get really pretty cows. So,
But-
yeah, but that's why those steroided guys die so early, is because they're pumping themselves with bull hormone. And therefore, they look like bulls.
It's not bull hormone.
There are literally instances where they were using, at least at one point in time, they were using like human cow growth hormone. So the same crap my dad would use. It's the 90s. I don't know how long it went. But the same
The
crap.
90s?
Yeah, it's like the same crap that my dad was using for cows.
Okay, I can see
they
that
were
because
they were using for the bodybuilders.
I think it was 92, Biden actually made steroids, like designer steroids, like a lot of them that people were using illegal. Like he's the one that did it. Biden did
Was
it
it
when he was a
Biden?
senator. Yeah.
That's, you'd think he would have been more buff then, but anyway. Hang on just a sec. Calix says, you can look at a picture of a tiger showing its teeth and it can trigger your fight or flight response. Yes, and it would be a good idea to run from the tiger. You don't need a lot of deduction on that score. Reaction would be preferable in that situation, I would say.
Or freeze.
Well, if you freeze, you're dead.
If you're running away from a tiger, you're also dead.
Not if you find a tree first.
Tigers can't climb trees.
And not if I run faster than you.
They can do 50. You're crazy. No, dude. Hard hearts are bad for you. They're not good. I'm sticking to
everything
that.
has a mean. Everything has a mean. It has a range it's supposed to exist in. It is not a fair
Right.
analogy to
When you
say.
elevate
It
it
is not a fair
above
analogy to
normal,
say
that's
anger. It is not a fair analogy to say anger is bad in every circumstance by comparing bodybuilders who injected like 30 cc's or whatever it is of testosterone and cow hormone. Like, that's not equivalent. That's not equivalent because they're literally pumping themselves up with a bunch of hormones
It's an
and fake
extreme
crap.
example. It's just an example so you can see the picture.
But they're not parallel. Your example is not parallel of what you're talking about. I'm saying you can use anger to motivate you into an action, and therefore anger is not always morally bad. That's my claim. You're saying nuh-uh because if you inject yourself with a bunch of hormones, your heart's going to explode in your chest, and therefore anger is bad. And I'm like,
No, your
those have
heart
nothing to
wears
do
out.
with each other.
Your heart wears out before the rest of your body does.
Yes, because you've pumped a bunch of crap in your chest that's going to
Right?
kill
But
you.
if you do the same thing with, like, you could do that with anger. You could go to the gym every day and get angry as fuck and just work out super hard and work your heart too much. Like, you can literally do that.
But that's
it's
why
demonic
that's
to me.
why I keep calling back to a meme or a mean. A mean is like a middle ground. Like, there's a time to. Like,
I agree with you.
No, Ecclesiastes says there's a season for everything under the sun. I guess we're calling back to Ecclesiastes then.
You just
Time
said
for
middle
war
path.
Yeah, we could say middle path. I think that's fine. But anger, there is a time for love and there is a time for hate. There is a time to reap. There is a time to sow. There is a time for war. There is a time for peace. That's Ecclesiastes. Things have seasons, and you have to be cognizant of the season or the situation you are in. And you have to evaluate what the right response is. Sometimes anger is going to be appropriate, sometimes not.
There's not one time in my entire life that anger has helped me.
It's helped
Not
me. But we're just appealing to anecdote. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's helped me, but I don't know. Maybe it hasn't helped you. Trevor, has it helped you?
Anger?
Yes, the dark side.
Um,
I'm kidding. Anger.
I don't know. I just keep wanting to ask you all the question about when the Hulk said that he's always angry. Does that make him right or wrong?
About what?
Well, he had it figured out. You know, he's. People would ask him, you know, how do you
Oh,
keep it in check? Because he figured out how to keep it in check, and he was like that mic drop part where he punches the big alien. He's like, I'm always angry.
It's a great
So
superhero line, but it's kind of funny when you stop and think about it because I just picture him like screaming at his mother in his head all the time, you know? Like just
yeah,
like this really petty, bitter person just walking around mumbling all the time. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think it's good to be there at all. I mean, I don't. It's whatever.
all right, well, okay, if it's wrong to be angry, anger is an
I'm not saying it's
inherently.
wrong.
Then
It's
what are
not.
you saying? Because
I'm
it's not.
saying
I've
it's
been
like
sitting here thinking you're
it's
talking
not
about being mad
conducive.
about. I was
It's not
sit.
conducive to the will of the Father.
What does that mean?
Anger cannot help you achieve what God wants you to achieve.
Okay, so are you saying it's unproductive?
Yes.
Then why did Christ get angry?
I don't think he wanted to get angry. I think he calmed himself before he went, before he went and flipped the tables. I don't think he did that with his heart racing. I think he had a calm, calculated plan and he wanted to get rid of all the animal sacrifice in his father's house.
Is it a sin to make other people angry?
Yeah.
If it's a sin to make other people angry, then why did Jesus call the Gentile woman a dog?
yeah. Because sometimes if you
What?
Yeah, there's a story in the Gospels where Christ says I don't remember the exact terminology, the food for Israel or the gift of Israel is not meant for the dogs. He says that to, I think, a
Even the
Samaritan woman.
children,
Huh?
even the dogs eat the crumbs that
Yeah,
fall
and
from
then
the
she
children's.
responds, even the dogs eat the scraps from the table.
So she accepted what he said. He wasn't angry,
Yeah, but he could have made her angry. I mean, if I got called a dog, I'd have been angry.
but
So
she knew
if
what
it's a
she was.
sin,
He knew her
if it's
heart
a sin to make somebody angry, then why did Christ risk making her angry by literally calling her a name?
Christ knew her heart
Okay, we could make that argument. Well, then why did he make the Pharisees angry?
because they're demons.
So it's
He
okay
was
to
talking
make
to the.
bad people who we equivocate with demons angry.
No, we don't equivocate the people to demons. The demons are inside the people. We're making the demons angry so they come out. We can get them out.
Well, I don't think
they're
every
religious
Pharisee was
spirits.
literally possessed.
You don't think though? I think we're
No.
all every single person.
Okay, based on what?
We need to call Bob Larson for this.
Based on what?
Why do you think that everybody in the world is possessed? You're basically describing the fallen nature, but calling it demons instead.
Yeah, it's what Jesus said. Our thoughts are not our own.
I don't think he said
We
that.
we battle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers of the
That's
air.
Paul, your favorite author.
Okay, cool. We're not fighting actual people anymore. That was Old Testament shit. Now we're fighting parasites that affect thoughts in our head.
Well, I wouldn't make a delineation between the Old Testament and the New Testament, first of all, but
A what?
a delineation, like I wouldn't separate old and new like they're different and have different rule sets, like
They're
sets of rules.
absolutely like what? It's the physical law versus the spiritual law.
No, I don't think that's what the Old Testament and the New Testament are getting at.
So you think you're supposed to follow the law?
No, I think the law has been completed. The Levitical law has been completed. That's what we're getting. Gets us back to
I don't
Matthew
know what you're.
5. Okay,
know
when
your
Christ died on the cross, he finished the sacrificial system and he paid for all the sins because it was evident by that point, and it was supposed to be evident all along, that the Levitical law didn't work. Like it was insufficient. Men couldn't follow it because man can't follow God's rules in any circumstance. So when he died and paid for everyone's sins, sin is no longer on the board and the Levitical law has been completed because Christ was the final sacrifice. And that's what he meant. He meant that since he was the law's purpose, as Paul explains it, is to reveal how flawed and awful we are and to show that we can't make it. And once we understand that, then we understand why Christ died on the cross for sin, for every man's sin, every sin that ever was and every sin that ever will be. He did that because the law is impossible to fulfill. And a lot of what I think Christ is doing, like when we get to committing adultery in your heart and being angry at your brother without a cause, when we get to that section in 5, I think what he's talking about is he's taking it And he's saying, okay, you understand this from the context of the Levitical law, but even more broadly, even ethically, you can't hold this standard, because who hasn't been angry at a brother without a cause? Who hasn't looked at a woman of lust? Everybody sins. Everybody breaks the law. The law is impossible to fulfill. That's why I paid for all of it. So I completely went on a tangent, and I don't remember what my original point was. But
you're saying the Old Testament and the New Testament, there's not a delineation.
One is building on top of the other. Think of it like a cumulative case.
Yeah, but I think people's, like, when Jesus says Moses wrote you this law because your hearts were hard, Jesus gave us the ability to have soft hearts. He gave us that.
Mm-hmm.
Like forgiveness. He gave us forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's like the Old Testament went from a physical realm where you had to pay for your sins with animal sacrifice or whatever. Like that's a physical, everything you do is in reality. Whereas now we're allowed to be spiritually forgiven, and we don't like our I don't remember what I was trying to say.
Oh.
Like there's definitely like it's black and white, man. He definitely changed some things. I don't know why you're saying he didn't.
He did change things. So what do you mean?
You said there's not a delineation between the Old and New Testament. Like it went from physical to spiritual. Like it went from the letter of the law to the spirit of the law.
Well, delineation suggests, or at least the way I felt what you were saying was earlier, I felt you were saying that there's like a split between the Old and the New. And I'm going, no, there's not a split between those two. It's a cumulative case. And then because of, like, there's, the New Testament is a transition from the Old Testament, but that doesn't mean they're unconnected, and that doesn't mean the Old Testament is irrelevant. Like, again, it's like a lawyer making a case study, or like a judge writing like a refutation of a ruling.
Yeah, the Old Testament is case law.
Yeah, but the whole thing's case law. Like, it's one logical through line.
You don't think Jesus brings in a little bit of?
In other words, nothing in the Old Testament has been undermined or made irrelevant by Christ.
Animal sacrifice.
Because that was a shadow of what Christ was going to do all along.
Yeah,
like,
but he's still...
Okay, fair enough. We don't do animal sacrifices anymore. But why?
Because that was a physical way to pay for your sins, and he gave us forgiveness.
It was never doing anything at all. Like, that's the whole point of Genesis 1. Genesis 1 is the first prophecy of the Messiah. Now, this is the way I was taught. This might be more dispensationalist. I think that's the right term. But the way I was taught how this works is that Christ, like, everybody from the beginning knew that God was going to pay for sin, or there was going to be a redeemer at some point. That's the point or the purpose behind Genesis 3, when God makes that prophecy about the seed of the woman crushing the head of the serpent. Because remember, what predates that? Adam and Eve get physical skin, like animal skins, meaning that something had to die for their sin, for their initial sin. And after they receive that skin, then the prophecy of the seed of the woman crushing the head of the serpent comes into play. That's all part of the same story. So that's the first messianic prophecy, right? And then Cain and Abel come in, and you see sacrifices as normal. And then that gets systematized in the Levitical law. And then after so long of it getting systematized, then God, through the major prophets, says, I don't care about sacrifice. I care about obedience, because they're missing the point. And then all of that leads up to Christ being the final sacrifice. But the point is, the Messiah, the Jews, maybe a reductive or a simplistic way might be to say that the Jews believed that the Messiah was going to come and save them from their sins. And we believe that the Messiah has already came and paid for our sins. Like, that would be the difference. But the Jews were looking forward and we're looking back. That would be the only difference. But it's all leading to the same thing. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think the Jews are just stuck in the physical world. They're like, so kind of like Judas. Judas thought that Jesus was going to bring down the kingdom. Like, boom, like he was going to hop off the cross and just, pull some magic Jesus stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he killed himself after Jesus died. He was like, "Oh, I fucked up."
Mm-hmm.
So, like the Jews are stuck in that state. Like the generation always asks for a sign. They want real physical proof that everything's okay. And Jesus is like, everything's okay. And they're like, no, I need proof. Right? That's what's going on. They're stuck in reality. They're not in the spirit.
Okay, well, that may or may not be, but what does that have to do with the relevance of the Old Testament and the New Testament and their relation to each other?
I don't know the question.
Well, my whole point in bringing all of that up is that as I'm basically saying the Old Testament and the New Testament are connected. They're a cumulative case. There's a through line. You are right to say that, yeah, okay, we don't do animal sacrifices anymore. But the principles of God are still the same. And God was always telling the Jews that he was going to pay for their sins. Like, God has not changed, and his rules have not changed. And so, therefore, the Old Testament and the New Testament build on top of each other and are linked. And I don't like that we try to split them off, because some churches go as far as to not preach on the Old Testament at all. And I think that's a big mistake, because then you don't understand, like, the concept of a covenant, which is very important if you're going to understand Christianity and what salvation means. You do need to have an understanding of, like, covenants and the difference between the Abrahamic covenant and Levitical covenant. Not that information is going to save you, but if you want to understand what's happening mechanically, you do need to know those things. So,
sure. So if you're autistic, the Old Testament's cool.
That might be the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. So,
it's important, because I think the Old Testament shows like clear-cut bad behavior in the physical, and you can really like look at it. Whereas now it's like, it's all spiritual. It's all thoughts. It's all like, you can't see it. It's it's hidden. It's for those with eyes to see. It's much more nuanced.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think we have covered 10 verses, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
But we're about 45 minutes in, so we need to move on.
Let's do it.
We started at 13. Let me find out where we were. So we weren't on 21. Okay, I think we stopped at
We stopped
at
at
20. We stopped at 20.
Yeah, it was 21.
So we read a whopping 7 verses in 45 minutes.
Wow.
We are booking. Okay.
Well, it is gospel, so
Yes, Beatitudes, man. So
it's a deep dive.
yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna move on. On to the next.
Quick
subject.
note: we were reading page 933 in my Bible, just so you know.
Oh, sweet. Oh man. All right. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.